And for more, let's bring in Herman Chair, Valuations Manager from Syrian Ascent Consultancy, who joins us live from Hong Kong. Well, thanks for joining us, Herman. I just want to touch on a news report just out today, whereby Airbus is in talks to sell over 100 wide-body jets to China. What should we read into that? I mean, how does it square with China's aviation ambitions?
I think China aviation industry is still growing after the pandemic. Is surely that's a need of the aircraft. Of course, COMAC is now producing the C919, which is a single-aisle aircraft, but they need more wide-body aircraft to support the market. So the A330 would be a suitable candidate to replace the current generation aircraft for a long-term perspective.
Herman, wouldn't you say that China, to a certain extent, still relies rather heavily on foreign-made parts, which are subject to sanctions? So, how vulnerable does this make China's aviation industry and its ambitions?
Yeah, I believe those aircraft components that come from different parts of the world. Even for the Airbus aircraft, it also have some materials or components coming from Asia, or the Boeing aircraft also have some components coming from Europe. I think that's pretty usual. But of course, the aircraft itself has to develop or invented by China itself to mitigate the risk of heavily relying on the Western suppliers.
Right, and as China, it's trying hard to push its made in China jets, how appealing are they to global airlines? I mean, compared to Boeing and Airbus, for instance?
For C919, this specific aircraft, I think this is a good aircraft compared to Airbus A320 Neo family or 737 MAX. This is a good aircraft using the advanced technology. So I believe this aircraft, no matter its reliability, it shows in the market right now. So which is a pretty good aircraft, and the fuel consumption as well. So I think airliners are pretty confident for this aircraft, especially for the Chinese carriers.
Right. And you talked about this C919. It's a very good aircraft. It's got French technology. What about the region, I mean, the East Asian region? Or do you see perhaps any chance that Korean Air or Japan Airlines would possibly purchase such planes?
I think in short term, COMAC does focus locally. They're now targeting to produce up to 150 aircraft per year within the next 5 years. So they are still developing the whole family of planes, kind of like the Airbus has done with A320 and the smaller A319 and the larger A321 variants. So these kind of variants could provide different options for the airliners for operations. And no doubt, the aircraft would go international in the longer term, but in the shorter term, because of the low production rates, I think they focus on domestically to absorb those aircraft. And even for the long term, it will first go with the Belt and Road countries, which have a better relationship with China. So this where the international relationship could help COMAC to win some sales campaign.
So low production rate aside, we've noticed that, or rather reported that, Boeing has faced a string of high-profile incidents and there were some breakdowns. How do you think COMAC, I mean, can they capitalize on such incidents to gain a competitive edge and perhaps convince other airlines to switch to its aircraft?
I think since the unfortunate 737-9 MAX accident back in January, it's really laid bare the continued production challenge for Boeing. And they have been experiencing with the 737 production line. And Airbus hasn't exactly had it easy either. So they were close to averaging 60 A320 family aircraft per month back in 2019. Before the pandemic hit, their production dropped back down to less than 40 per month, although they're now back to around 50 also per month, according to Cirium data. But this is really structural to ramp things back up. For Comac, it's a very good question whether there's an opportunity for them to challenge Airbus and Boeing. But when we look at the production rates, it's not that ambitious. As I mentioned, the production rate could be up to 150 aircraft per year within the next 5 years. So roughly around only most likely more than 10 aircraft per year. So when we look at the global market, they may have just under 1,700 C919 deliveries by 2042, which is a really less compared to 6,000 new single-aisle planes expected to be delivered in China over that time frame. So C919 maybe only project to capture around 25% of the market share. That's compared to the 30% for Boeing and roughly around 45% for Airbus.
Right, Herman, I need you to make a prediction here. How many years do you think it will take for China's aviation industry to mature and potentially rival Airbus and Boeing?
I think it take another 2 to 3 decades to do so in order for them to ramp up the production rate, expand their ground support, maintenance support in other locations. Because it's not only you produce the aircraft itself, you sell it overseas. That's not you may get the certifications. However, the airlines also require support. In case of any maintenance issues, they need to rely on immediate fix from the ground engineers. However, if there's no parts, no component support, it will be very difficult for this aircraft to go international.
Right, so possibly 2 to 3 decades from now, we might see the China planes rival the likes of Airbus and Boeing. Well, thanks so very much, Herman Che, speaking to us live from Hong Kong for your analysis.